Hey guys, VTech here at Blueberry Hill. So here we are. This is door sealing day. We're going to do the finish sealing all the doors. We're going to put the black sealant around the edges of the angle iron and the doors. And in the header section, we're going to foam that in and then wait for that to set, and then we're going to put the sealant on top of that. We'll probably use masking for that one, liquid masking. It's that orange, kind of red orange color, oxide color. And the real sealant is for the edges of the doors. We'll cut the excess foam out that you see in the corner there, spurts out. We'll cut that off, and then we're going to put a very nice, very thick bead of what they call construction sealant. It's a Dow 795 sausage tube. You've seen that in the other prior videos. We watched my window video. And anyway, it's good stuff. It's easy to work with. A little bit of water, a little bit of soap, smoothing it out. It works perfectly, and it holds everything really well. It's glued in like nothing else. Anyway, let's get on with it. Oh, forgot to mention, that noise you hear, those are the katydids. We have this year inundated by katydids. Last year with cicadas. They're very, very loud. This isn't bad at all. At night it gets really bad, but if you hear that noise in the background, it's not the microphone. It's actually the katydids. And I might shoot a video of one of them just to show you. They're about that big. They're big ones. We had a ton of grasshoppers and moth worms. I'll call them worms, but they're caterpillars. Millions of them. That was about a month and a half ago. And now the katydids. This is probably going to stop within the next month, we're guessing. Anyway, let's get on with the stuff. So I'm going to start sealing in the big void at the top of the frame. It's angle iron, and of course the coagulation's on the container. I'm trying to fill that in, and we'll come back with masking. I ended up doing the liquid mask on this part. So I'm getting ready to load the sausage gun. Here's the 795 Dow product I'm using, which is the black sealant. That's what the commercial guys use for their installations. Not the DAP stuff or whatever you get at Home Depot. You basically put it in there, cut a small hole, put your very big tip for dispensing this stuff. And I'll go get the lid, I forgot it. Thing works really well. They have power ones and then they have the handheld ones. I just got the hand one. It came free because I bought so many tubes of the sealant and the liquid masking. Anyway, back to time lapse, and I'm gonna spew it in there. So there's the sealants can supposedly gap up to 1 inch or even more gaps. I don't have any of that. I have about 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch size. You put enough sealant to go inside the grab, but you want it to cover on the outside of the frame and touch the window. So you don't want it to all squirt inside the space. You want it to be sitting on top of the outside surfaces plus on the inside as well. Anyway, it takes quite a bit. Did probably 1.5 tubes, almost 2 tubes per door. Windows take just under 1 tube because they have a smaller gap, a 1/4 inch. You can see some foam on the right side of the screen there. That's a window I haven't done yet. I'm going to do that next. And then there's several windows I haven't done because I need a man lift to get up there. I'm not going to climb up and down 20 feet on the ladder, so a little bit too precarious for that. I'll wait till I get the man lift and we'll take care of that. So here's a shot of it being finished. That's going to be covered up with siding anyway, but this is a very solid glued on sealant that'll basically keep the door in place too. It's solid stuff once it dries. So you've seen me do the windows before, but I'm just doing one that I have access to. You can see the 2 other windows on the right there. I'm not going to do those until I have the man lift, because that's straight up from the ground. It's probably 15 to 20 feet up, and I don't want to play with the ladder on that one. Anyway, so you put the sealant in, then you smooth it out with the finger. It takes a little bit of water and a rag, and it wipes right off of your finger if you get any on there. Normally it doesn't stick to you if you have enough soap in the water, and it just glides over it, so you don't end up gooping everything up. You cannot do that with any of the normal silicone products that you buy, like say Home Depot or Lowe's. You'd make a real mess out of that. So as I was saying earlier, I probably used almost one tube on this window, a little bit less than that because I used a little more on that on the door. Anyway, smooth it out, make it all look nice. A lot of this stuff, like I said, was going to be covered. We don't know with what yet, 100%, because we're still debating on what kind of surface we're going to put on the outside of parts of the containers. So this isn't too bad. The ladder's not that high off the ground. At least I can rest it against the side of the container. The back 4 windows on the master bedroom, I can't reach those very well without putting a ladder on the windows. So those are going to have to wait till I get the man lift as well. Anyway, same process here. Just squirt enough in there, make it all nice and smooth. That was barely enough for the ladder, as you can see right on the corner of the building. Anyway, it worked out, not a problem. Then I got a smaller ladder to do the bottom sections and under the door. So made pretty quick work of that. These ones are quite easy to do, pretty straightforward. And I had to get some more zip tape after I finished the sealant to do the top parts of the doors. It wasn't sufficient to just goop it up after I put the foam on the top frame section of the doors. So after doing the sides, I got a regular ladder, so I can get to the underneath, and I puked in some more of that stuff at the very bottom of the doors. They did a pretty good job sealing these doors. The only one I have to do a little more extra work on was the one upstairs in the game room. I haven't done that from the bottom side up yet, but regardless of that, water's not getting in there. We had a pretty good rainstorm, I think, this day, end of this day, on the 26th. So, and the 27th we had a pretty good set of showers, I believe. So anyway, here I am doing the tall stuff. I really hate being on this side of the ladder stuff. This is, the containers are about 8-9 feet off the ground here, and I'm climbing up the ladder, and I can't put the ladder on the green zip sheeting because it gets really slick. I need to get some kind of, I guess I'll call them feet, but to put on top of the ladder so they'll actually grip the wall better. Zip sheeting is super slick, and ladders tend to rock around, and I didn't want to do that. But anyway, wasn't too bad. I did some of that work from inside the ladder on the inside of the building, just hanging out. I'm not sure I'll show that or not, but I was hanging outside the zip door with the ladder on the inside of the house. Worked out okay. Just gotta hold, not let go. Right. So now I'm doing the last door. This is the 8x8 on the back side of the house from the hallway. I had to move the ladder several times to get to the whole 8-foot section here, but fairly straightforward. We don't expect any rain or water here, but at the same time, you still want to seal it up. We might clean it off or something. We're probably going to do some kind of cedar planking back here, some kind of shiplap kind of stuff. We're not sure what kind of wood yet, but kind of a cedar look. I like the brownish stuff that stays that color. We don't want it to turn gray or nothing. But anyway, continuing out the sealant, just adding it in there, and then I come back later to do the red sealant around the back of the frames, which I hadn't done yet. So I was trying to hurry up. There was rain coming, and it was in the forecast, so I wanted to get the door sealed up and buttoned up. Again, this door's not going to see weather, but at the same time, it's good to keep airflow, bugs, and all that stuff will stay out, so it's a good deal. I'm not sure I mentioned before, we have crazy ants down here in San Marcos. They came in the territory around 2002 from South America. They're nuts. They're called pawnee ants or raspberry ants, a bunch of different names. They're tiny, they're like sugar ants, but anyway, they love this door for whatever reason. When we stored it in the garage, we saw that, and now we have them running up and down the containers into this door for whatever reason. Anyway, here's a very quick view of me doing the red masking. It's called liquid masking. I bought it from mesupply.com, same as the sealant, and it does really nice. It stays kind of rubbery, but it seals up all the framework. I did that around the window frames and now the doors. So here's June 28th. We're beginning the walls above the 8x8 door. So good step forward. We're now it's just kind of wall. We're not going to have a ceiling in the hallway. We're going to actually keep the container ceiling for the most part of the hallway. The wall that you see to the right of me there, where the stairs are, that's going to get cleaned up and just painted. We're going to leave that exposed as well. So container, yay. Get a little bit of that vibe. Anyway, here you see me banging the frame together, pretty much like normal. Hi guys, we here at Blueberry Hill. So it's pretty warm today. It's supposed to rain, super humid. And I started working back on the walls since we have the doors finished. You can see I'm doing on the wall in the back. This is on the hallway area. We're just putting a normal wall on the back end of the house. It's going to go straight to the ceiling, all across this wall, up on the back side, and then up into the living room area. How I'm going to attach them is, you might be able to see tiny little holes at the top already pre-drilled. So the wall's going to get screwed to the container and fired in with ramjet nails on the bottom side. And then of course spray foam and all that stuff. So anyway, it should be pretty secure. I'm working a little bit at a time so I can fixate that wall and then move over to the kind of the header above the door. It's non-load bearing, so I'm not too worried about any of that stuff. There's going to be probably a couple 2x in there just to get the clearance right and the offset from the wall. So we'll see how that goes. So on doing the windows, we learned a little thing, prior walls. We basically make sure that the studs are in the right place, even though we measured it out, and then we come back and we make the bottom and the top plates for the windows after we check them. So we did have to cut a few out on the window installs, but so far so good here. You saw me kind of cutting off some of the metal screws that hold the door to the angle iron, and now I'm doing the top and bottom plate for the window. Pretty straightforward stuff. They're all the same height across the entire building, so that's very consistent. The only difference here is the wall is taller. So here I'm banging in the top and bottom plates, and then I'm going to go to the outside with a ladder and use screws to hold this wall to the container. And then we're going to bang in some ramjet nails into the bottom plate. Pretty straightforward. It's pretty much like every other wall we've done. The only difference is there's no ceiling here to hold everything kind of like tight together. You know, all the other rooms are boxes in a box, and that's the way we were kind of betting on everything. But here the ceiling stays open. So here you see me kind of running up and down the ladder. I'm actually doing the fastening the wall to the container using several screws on the corrugulations of the container. Yeah, where possible, I try to use every single corrugulation that goes to the inside. I put a couple of holes in there with construction screws. They're the ones with the T25 head, so they work really well. I'm using new bits too. I'm not too happy with the bits because they do round out a little bit. I like the iron ones, kind of like a DeWalt or a Ryobi metal bit, and they seem to last a lot longer. Anyway, here I'm going on to the next phase. You just saw me show you the radar. Weather's coming. There you see it hitting on the right side, and I'll show you that a little more realistically in a second.
A little bit of rain. Oh, so good to be dried in. See the flashing on the doors and the windows working pretty good. Drip dry, drip dry.
So just like all the other walls, here I turned the light on because it was getting a little dark in there because of the gloomy weather we got. But anyway, the weather, it was coming and going, so the rain was, what you heard in the few seconds ago, that was just rain on the roof, pretty loud. Anyway, trial fit the wall like every other. It fits, yay. Take it back down, then I do the top and bottom plate for the window, and then shove it in there. Angie's going to show up in a few minutes here to help me out, hold it in there and do some other things. But anyway, just like every other wall. So I went away and pre-cut everything, and now I'm installing the header portions for the windows, and then shove it in there. Angie's going to show up in a second, and we're going to put the wall up, and then I'm going to put the header over the door. This is kind of like flying by the seat of your pants. You know, there's no plans for any of this. It just kind of happens when you see it. Rough idea of what's going on, but you know, we've never done these kind of dimensional things before, so we're learning as we go. Usually when a duck comes in, I know Angie's coming and she's just supervising and checking stuff out. So here I'm drilling the holes for the screws that go through the back, outside to the inside for holding the wall. And then we put the wall up and we're good to go. Whiskey's always looking for something out there. But anyway, pretty straightforward. Here I am. I'm going to put the ladder up and get the screws and fix the wall to the container. And then we're going to ramjet the bottom parts in. So once the wall is screwed to the container wall, we start doing the ram set stuff, make sure it's level, and then we pop a whole bunch of ram set nails. I did almost every stud here because it's a freestanding wall, sort of, you know. And now we're going to work on the corner, the container as it goes into the hallway. We're going to put a bunch of 2x in there. We're going to make it up as we go. We'll put enough 2x4s to hide stuff. There's no preset concept here. It's just to make sure everything kind of lines up. So we'll put a couple of 2x together and make it all work. So for the corner, I'm just putting a couple of 2x together. I'm putting a top bottom plate. It's a 3.5 inch bottom plate. It's tiny. Anyway, for all the spacing to work, just bang the things in there. And now we have a nice transition from this wall to the hallway wall. So good to go there. Next I work on the headers above the door. Pretty straightforward. I had to trim this a little bit because there's a few dents on that part of the roof. But it spans pretty easily, and that's all we're doing here. The roof is going to stay this open, like container roof. It's nice and smooth, and we'll clean it up and paint it.
Hey guys, VTech here, Blueberry Hill. So this is June 29th. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. So we're going to start building the walls in the living room. One of the big walls is right here behind me. I'll show you a little panoramic of it a little bit. We finished the wall where the big slider is yesterday, so we're good to go there. We've had a lot of rain the last couple of days, so it's super humid, very hot. We're going to be sweaty part of the course. And we have a ton of crazy ants in the building already. So they came in the big slider. Apparently they love climbing up that area, and they were all along the wall. So we're putting out this stuff called Bi-Fi. I forget the real chemical name, but it's definitely a poison. It does whack them out. There's very few things that seem to mess with the crazy ants. Those are called palmy ants or raspberry ants. They are incredibly, they don't hurt you, but they're major pain. They're everywhere. They run around like crazy, no paths to follow. Anyway, we're trying to eradicate them. They're all over the San Marcos area, especially on this side here. Apparently came into the country in 2002. Hey, who knew? Okay, anyway, let's get on with the build, and we'll walk you through it. Time lapse. See ya. Well, let me just swing around. This is the main big wall. Nothing goes here. This is just a wall. Then we're gonna have to hang, 2x4 construction. I'm just gonna pan the camera as we go, and that's gonna be a bit of a challenge where the windows are. Already figured out how to hang all the stuff. We're just gonna screw it to the steel, and then we're gonna move on to the side with the windows on it. That's gonna be probably gonna build that in place, just because it's a lot easier than trying to measure everything out and make it all legit and then put it up. We have 16-foot 2x4s, and that's as high as it goes. We're gonna have to make a little small top section of the wall, probably in place or on the ground, and put it in place. We'll see how that goes.
Just like every other wall we've done so far, we put the bottom plate on. We scribed 16 on center marks on it. Went ahead and cut the length of this 2x down. Where the yellow container you see, that's almost like a normal wall, rectangle, and on the left it's going to be 3 or 4 the studs are going to be angled for the 212 pitch roof that we have. Obviously you could do the 212 pitch 9.5 degrees. We could have figured it out without jumping up and down the scaffold, but I didn't want to make a mistake with the wood based on wood prices today. So I went up there and scribed it and made sure I wasn't going to mess that up.
So once I scribed the 2x, I did the inside and the outside of the angled portion of the wall up on the scaffold. I brought it down, cut them, and then just laid them out. I'm going to have one more on the inside of those. Here's a funny part. Do you see the lighter 2x4 16, the second one over? That ended up being a ½ inch longer than the other ones, which was unbeknownst to me and when I was putting the wall together. So you have a ½ inch longer stud, and the other ones were all the same size. Who knew? So I'm just getting the studs ready for nail up, and I think in a little bit you're going to see me cutting one of the studs. The second one over, like I said, it was a little ½ inch too long, which I had no clue. They were supposed to be all the same length, and obviously we're not. They're supposed to be 16 inch. I think they're 2 inches over, 2.5 inches over that. So they're 16, but plus or minus. There actually you can see the issue right there. So I'm measuring it, and then I'm going to actually cut it on the floor, because I already nailed the other side because it looked off. So I double checked, and here I take a saw, then I use the sawzall to get the rest of it off. Anyway, no harm, no foul. Everything lined up. It just wasn't expected. So just bang it together. I did the top portion, and I'm going to actually cut that longer 2x4 you see there, and towards the angled portion of the wall. I'm trying to figure out where to do that. And then we'll cut one more stud, we'll throw it in place, and we're good to go. So after figuring out the angles and the offset for the upper section of the wall, 16 on center, except for the very last one, I moved that over so the nailer would be okay for the drywall. Anyway, I build it, then I shove it together, put a little support there, and then I test fit it against the wall. I did it all by myself. That wasn't too fun. It's not heavy, it's just kind of awkward. It wants to flip over your head, right? And then I get on the scaffold, and I have to cut a very top section. That was that 2x4 that was straight towards the beveled section. That needed a little bit of cutting. So anyway, Angie helped me with that one, moving it over so I could actually get to it. So fun stuff. Hey, gotta do what you gotta do. I didn't realize you couldn't see what I was doing. Angie pulled me with the scaffold so I could actually see what I was cutting at the top. The straight piece of 2x that's on top of the wall, parallel to the ground. I had to cut a little angle off that just to get it to go underneath the angle iron on that wall. Anyway, here's the dog helping me out. Anyway, we started putting blocking up before we attached the 2x to the wall. Once we do this, then we're going to mark the wall, and I'm going to pre-drill holes, then go on the other side and fasten the wall to the 2x to the container wall. I'm not sure I videotaped. I think this is where I drill the holes in the particular locations. Alright, this is I'm marking it actually. And Angie's going to pull me away from the wall, and then I'm going to start drilling holes in the container walls so we can do the screws in there. Anyway, might have been more trouble than it was worth this way. The wall above the yellow container, where you see on the right, I do that a little differently, and you'll see that in a minute. A lot easier. So now to the inside of the garage, we pre-drilled the holes from the other side. Now I'm coming in, and I'm going to put a couple screws here. Then I'm going to go into the other side, make sure the wall is level, come back and do some more screwing. So basically everywhere where there's a hole, I put a screw in, and we made it solid to the wall. Again, when I was building this wall, it was made from dented container cutouts, and the wall was not perfectly straight, but it really doesn't matter because it's sandwiched by 2x, and we're gonna have a ton of foam in here and everything else, so it's gonna be nice and straight when it's done. So now we're gonna start doing the other wall, which is pretty straightforward. It's basically just top and bottom plate, rectangular wall, X number of studs. Didn't have to cut anything except for one, which was too long. Just like it's kind of funny. The yellow ones were all the same length. There was a couple of white ones thrown in there that were kind of different. So whatever that means. Anyway, no big deal. The wall came out okay. We test fit it. We put it down on the ground, and we block it as well, just like the other wall. Angie was helping me on this one, and supervising, of course. And we got it done pretty quick. She cut the blocking and we went on with everything. So blocking is always easier doing it on the ground, so we did everything on the ground. I didn't really care where I had it. I did just 2 sets of blocking, roughly 5-6 feet apart. And then once we finished that, then we stacked the wall upwards. So here's Angie and I heaving up the wall, put it in place, and now I have to figure out how to attach it to the wall. Basically, I'm going to do a double blocking system. The walls are a little bit further from where the blocks are, and I couldn't just do drill holes like I did on the left side of the wall and attach the 2x to it. And that's because there's a support piece halfway up the wall that runs up on the yellow container. The top is nice flush. You can see the frame right where the foam is. Anyway, the double blocking was the trick. I basically drilled holes right above the blocking that I put in place, and one on the other side. You'll see that in a second, and we're gonna ram it to the wall. So now I'm gonna screw put the screws in place and drive them through to the wall in the living room, and we'll be good to go. This is just a few that I did initially, and then I come back and drill a few more holes, and then make it pretty solid. Here I had to drill. I added a blocking there. I didn't pre-drill the holes. I did it from this side. Nope. So the angle for the camera is not the greatest, but you see me putting blocking up top. Then I go down to the bottom. I put the blocking in place. I'm drilling holes as I go and then nailing them in there. And I'm test fitting, making sure the blocking is big enough to actually fit towards the wall. I want it nice and flush on the wall and on the inside. Here I'm putting the block between the 2 walls, finishing it up, and making everything nice and solid. And next bit of work, of course, is doing the ramjet nails, and we're good to go on that. So ram set time. So here I'm setting the bottom plate down. The wall's already fixed to the container, bunch of screws, and now we're doing a ram set. And here we are. We're going to do the last bit of the wall, which is the triangle piece that goes on the very top. This was just done because getting a 20-foot 2x was another $7 or $8 a hit, and I needed I believe it was 11 or 12 per wall, so I didn't want to spend the extra bucks for that. So I got all 16s, and I'm making this out of regular 2x8s, so a little bit cheaper. I need a 9.5 degree angle studs, so I'm measuring it out. I didn't actually plan it out. I measured it on the spot just so I could have a physical idea of what I was doing. Put it in place, and it worked perfectly. So I was using the level and that as a little extension straight edge, so I could actually put a couple extensions to the back end of the triangle. And then once I was done, measured up all the studs I needed, cut those, and off I went. So cut out all the studs, and I banged them in place, moved the scaffold over to the wall, and we put the wall up in a matter of just a couple of minutes. So easy peasy. So here's to install the triangle piece on top of that wall. The hard part was getting it up on the scaffold without dying. Anyway, pretty straightforward. Just nail it up there and everything lined up for a shot, and off I went.
So that was fun. That took a little longer than I expected. Everything takes double or triple the length of time that I kind of expected. Seems like a going rate for me. Building anything seems to go that way. I take my time. I don't rush it. Anyway, there's the wall. First wall, everything's screwed to the container. Looks pretty good. I figured out an easy way to do the blocking double stack, so I can actually put a blocking closer to the wall. Since the walls are these are the walls that I built way back from the cut panels of the containers, so they're not 100% straight. They never were to begin with, anyway. But there it is. Good enough for that. Probably have to do blocking for the drywall for the ceiling. We're probably going to hire guys for that. I don't really know yet, but maybe. And then we're moving on. So anyway, that's the end of the show for today. Tomorrow, I hope to do, I'll show you this real time. That wall over there, the one with the wingers. There, that one. You should take a little bit less 2x because it's, you know, more holes in there with the windows. And there are the 16 footers down there. Like I was saying earlier, they're not really 16 feet, they're 16 feet and 2.5 inches longer. So I didn't account for that. I never even measured them when I began. You might have seen me cut the 2 2x4s that were longer than the rest by 1/2 inch.
not a big deal, but wish I knew, you know. So you expect them to all be the same, but they're not. So anyway, work to the wise, measure 5 times and then cut once, or cut after you nail it, like I do. Anyway, talk at you later. Thanks for watching, man. Bye.